Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning? Fantastic. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody this morning. Fantastic. Glad you're here this morning. Welcome to the Center of Unity. If you're joining us for the first time, we just say welcome. Welcome. We're glad you're here with us this morning. So, sometimes when you go through life, sometimes they say, oh, you're kind of sleepwalking through life. You've heard that term before sometimes. We get up, we go to work, we do the same thing, we come home, we go to bed, we do it again, and we do it again. And they call it sleepwalking through life. But this morning, as we start to sing this song, I want us to think about waking up to life. That's all around us, waking us up to the profound possibility that is just today, tomorrow, every hour. When in the story of Lazarus, Jesus said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep. Let's go wake him up. That's what this song is about. Why don't you stand up this morning? We're going to do this song together. In the dark and all alone, growing comfortable, are you too scared to move and walk out of this room? Buried underneath the lies that you believed, safe and sound, stuck in the ground, too lost to be found. You're just asleep, and it's time to leave. Come on and rise up, take a breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. When he said your name, the thing that filled your veins was more than blood, the kind of love that washes death away. Now the door is open wide, and the stone's been rolled aside. The old is gone, the light has come, so come on and rise up. Take a breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. Rise up, rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. He's calling us to walk out of the dark. He's giving us new resurrected hearts. He's calling us to walk out of the dark. Yeah, he's giving us new resurrected hearts. So come on and rise up, take a breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. Rise up, rise up, come on, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus.
Good way to get the blood flowing on a Sunday morning. At least it was for me. Good to see everybody here. in this sacred room that we get to gather in, and we also wanted to say a special good morning to those joining us, whether it's through our Facebook or YouTube live stream. It's good to know that you're here with us and can celebrate this day in which we will wake up, even if it's just a little bit more each and every day. That's the call to each of us. That's the series that we're working on, is how can we go through life more and more awake to what the truth is, to what the reality is, instead of what we sometimes make it to mean, or at least our ego does. So we're grateful you're here, grateful for the ways in which you're willing to wake up and to be a light in this world. It is what makes a difference, at least I believe it does. So if you're just discovering us, we'd love to connect with you. We have a weekly e-news that goes out, lets you know of the different classes and events that are going on. And you could, if you're here in person, fill out a Connect card and bring that up to the offering towards the end of the service. Or if you're online, you can go to centerofunity.org and then the Connect tab there, and that will give us your information and make sure we're giving you the information that you're wanting to know about who we are and who we've come here to be. And who have we come here to be? What is our purpose as a community? That's what we've been working on. And the phrase that we've been working with for the past year or so, maybe even longer than that now, is to align all we do and all we offer in support of this evolutionary purpose, which is about the transformation of our own lives, and then it's not complete. That whole circle is not complete until we take what we discover and who we step into being and make a positive difference out in the world. So I invite you to once again join with me as we put the power of our voice into this purpose. Let's say it together. Transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. And we're gonna sing again.
We have, I have a bunch of kids, I have 5 kids. And part of what you do as a parent is you speak into their lives their identity. You're smart, you're beautiful, you're loved. You're all of the, these things. This is what you do as a parent. You speak this into their life because this is how they build their identity, right? And so so now we're all grown up. God is speaking that same identity into your life. You're smart, you're beautiful, you're loved, you're more than a conqueror, you have peace, you have healing, you have joy. All of these things, He is speaking into your life just as a parent, just like I speak into my children's life. He's doing that for you. That's what this song is about.
Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but He brought me in, or His love for me, His love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, He has ransomed me, His grace runs me. forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Yes, I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Well, good morning. I'm Norma, and this is Elaine, and we're two of your care team, and we'll be available to pray with you after the service today, right over here in the prayer room. The word for today, peace. I bless the world with thoughts of peace.
The word shalom is synonymous with the word peace, but it means more than the absence of war and conflict. Shalom, appearing so frequently in the Bible, is also used to affirm wholeness and well-being. True well-being requires the... This thing's going in and out. Pardon me? Okay. All right. True, lasting well-being requires the kind of peace known by living in alignment with God. Anchored in peace, people are less likely to be in conflict and more likely to appreciate that the beautiful planet Earth offers goodness and abundance for all. When I pray for a peaceful world, I pray shalom for myself and for each person of every land to have their needs met, to know lasting well-being for themselves and their families, to live in harmony, and to work toward the common good.
And the scripture is from James 3:18. A harvest of righteousness is sown in peace for those who are peacemakers. And as we come to this time of prayer in our service, I would ask that you take a moment to be still, to take in a deep breath and focus on your center. Beloved Holy Spirit, we take this moment to acknowledge your presence here with us, all around us, and connecting us to each other. Special way today, we want to remember Thea Harnest and her family in the passing of her mother, June. And at the same time, we remember all of us who have lost dear ones recently. And we remind ourselves that life is eternal and love never dies. And we are one. So those of us here in this human experience, as we experience loss, illness, we want to remind ourselves that we are holy. We are one with God. We are one with each other. And so we experience peace, love, wisdom, healing, all that is good. And so for this blessing, we simply say thank you, thank you, thank you, God, and amen.
Thank you. So last week, I invited you to consciously move through each day, focusing on, searching for, if you have to, discovering and reminding yourself of what's working in your life. And when you do that, to activate this heart energy center with gratitude, appreciation, love, maybe even be inspiration if you're out in nature and you just are in awe of the beautiful scenes around you. So how many people even once tried to be focused on looking for the good? And I see some hands going up there. You can just do a thumbs up if you're watching us online. For most of us, it takes this intentionality to shift our ego's default mode of what the author described as negativity bias. Our ego is always on the lookout for what might be wrong, for what might be unsafe, for what might be dangerous for us. So that's its default. So in order to shift that, it takes focused attention. It just doesn't happen by itself. And research has shown that there's lots of physical benefits when we can, throughout our day, bring those elevated emotions into our energy field. Excuse me. Feelings like love and gratitude and compassion. If we activate those more and more often in our day, there's actually healing benefits that begin to also have an opportunity to do their magic work because we're in that more relaxed state. I don't know if this was your experience, but I've noticed over the years that when people first sort of awaken to this greater reality of their inherent divine nature, all right, I may need that coffee, because I've got ragweed. I don't know how many of you have issues with ragweed, but 3 weeks now has made me miserable. Anyway, so when people are first awakening to their own divine nature, when they finally hear it and it resonates as truth for them, the ego can often be looked at as something bad, to be gotten rid of, to be eliminated out of our life. It's been causing us all the trouble, so we need to just figure out a way to make it go away. Reverend Jane Simmons writes a lot about the ego in her book, You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening. And she reminds us that there is nothing inherently bad or wrong about the ego. In fact, it's a necessary part of our human journey. It's what allows us, all right, I'm hoping that's it, to navigate the sensory world. If we didn't have our ego and we had to consciously think about everything that we have to do throughout the day, we would be challenged to get a whole lot done. By default, though, if we're unconscious of it, the ego will also assume the driver's seat. And the challenge is that the ego is a very bad driver. Its eyesight is impaired. It's obscured. Do you remember? Okay, I know a few of you out there have some familiarity with Mr. Magoo. Just like him, the ego's eyesight is impaired. It's obscured by beliefs and myths and judgments and experiences. It's described as like looking through a partially shuttered, dirty window and believing that we see everything clearly. That's the lens that we, by default, will look out at the world. A different way of thinking about it, physicist Sean Carroll describes it as a bubbling cauldron of preferences, wants, sentiments, aspirations, likes, feelings, attitudes, predilections, values, and devotions. It's all of that just at any given moment, ready to rise up. And we come also by default to believe it is who we are, that that's our identity. I am all of those things. So here's an easy mental exercise I want you to try out. You can even try it right now, but when you're out and in conversation, or even just to be paying attention to your thoughts and how they speak within your own mind, see if you can go for 1 hour without using the word I. I is the identity of the ego. And in order to do that, we would have to really change our language. It would sound quite weird. So if I'm feeling angry, or I say I'm angry, or I feel angry, and that, instead of being able to say that, it might be a sentence something like, there's anger brewing from within because the dishes aren't done. It's the same description, but it's an objective way of looking at it versus making it the personal I. Or there's an experience of love rising up rather than just saying, I feel love or I love. So if the ego, as we do this work, becomes the passenger, then who moves into the driver's seat? The author calls it the authentic self. Others may call it our divine essence, our creative mind, our indwelling spirit, our soul, and as we often refer to it in unity, our Christ nature. That divinity of Christ that is within us, that we have been created from. Jesus demonstrated what this looks like, how we look when we take on that Christ nature as humility, as compassion, as generosity, as unconditional love. And while the people of Jesus' time had no awareness of the ego, they didn't understand how our psyches worked. You would have baffled them if you talked about their shadow nature. It's like, what, that thing that's behind me here? These were all concepts that were beyond their knowing, at least at that time, and yet they understood that the path to what they called salvation was by humbling their human self to their divine nature, to their Christ nature. John the Baptist described it this way in John 3. He said, "He must increase and I must decrease." When he's talking about the coming Christ, they were saying, no, you were first, you're the one, we want to follow you. And in order for this to happen, that ego part of us must decrease, and the divine nature within us must increase. More and more often, we want that divine nature to be in our driver's seat. And it allows us then to drive from the awareness that we are each individualized expressions of that one life. Our second unity principle, that this divine nature is within all of us, not just in a chosen one. And that we are indeed repositories of the infinite alive within us. It's remembering that we are, as Jane liked to put it, way more than what we appear to be, or even what the ego would say that we are. When we're connected to our authentic self, we have access to the wisdom and to the guidance of the heart, because that's where the divine nature lives from. The ego tends to be up here, but when we are in our heart, we can be pretty well assured that we are allowing that authentic self to be in the driver's seat. So this morning, as we move into our meditation time, I wanted to invite you to see in this moment whether you can allow your divine nature, your Christ self, your soul, your spirit, whatever you'd like to call it, invite it into the driver's seat for just a little while and see what wisdom and guidance might be awaiting you today. So as you just get comfortable where you're at, if it's easier, you can close your eyes or just focus on some point in the room so that all of your attention begins to move inward. Becomes aware of the breath that's always there, breathing us, even though the vast majority of the time we are unconscious to the way it works in and out of our body. The breath can also bring us to this now moment, for this is the only moment that we are breathing in. And as you just let that breath flow naturally and easily in and out of your body, see if you can bring your attention to your heart space, to that energy center in the center of your chest. Almost imagining now that you're breathing in and out of your heart. and in this sacred center of the divine, to remember and to feel that we are interconnected with all of life, because all of life contains the same energy, the same God DNA as we do. And to activate this center even into a greater and greater energy, I invite you to bring into this space someone or something that you are grateful for, that you appreciate, that brings you that energy of love. Whether it's a place in nature or a relationship, a beloved pet, even someone that is beyond this physical realm. As you think about them, remember what it felt like to be so grateful, to feel that sense of love and connectedness. And as the energy in your heart grows and grows, the more you hold that feeling of gratitude and love. You open the field for wisdom and guidance, to become conscious in your mind, in your intuitive nature, and in your heart. All that we need do is listen. And so we move for a time into the quiet where we can receive. And know that you can return to this place at any moment. You can activate that infinite wisdom, understanding. You can see through the eyes of God when you are centered in a grateful heart. You can heal from this place. For this is the very energy infusing our minds and our bodies and our spirits that all of creation was expressed into, where all things are possible if we believe. And so as you begin to once again be aware of your breath and the sounds in the room and the chair that's supporting you, taking one more deep breath, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So waking up, becoming aware of our shadows, those myths, those messages, those limited beliefs, many of them that we took on when we were a very young child, needs to become an intentional practice, because ego-deflating work isn't something that we typically happily take on. I don't know anybody who wakes up and goes, boy, I hope I get triggered today. I hope there's a lot of stuff that goes down, so I really get to work on moving the ego into the passenger seat and taking over the driver's seat. So what do we use as our wake-up call as we go through the day. And actually, it is those very moments when we get triggered, when somebody pushes our buttons, that are the golden opportunities to peek behind those reactions, to get curious about them, and to awaken to the unconscious shadow parts that we're holding, and that effect, that color, that change our perception. Because just by the very act of being aware of them, we can activate the process to heal them, to re-educate them, to choose again to have a different belief. Richard Rohr suggests that our wounds are God's hiding place, and they hold our greatest gifts. Just as we individually take on certain limited beliefs based on our experiences, and we choose what we make them to mean, so do communities like ours. So do any kind of energetic body that is together and moves over time. Based on the experience, there are hidden shadows that filter the perceptions of what is happening today. And that's why we have invested our time and our resources, and more than 40 people showed up for this genogram activity a few weeks ago, so that we could awaken to who Center of Unity's authentic self is, who has this body of energetic souls come to be in our world, and what are the shadow qualities that can sometimes get in the way of that can show up when we least expect it and try and sabotage that expression. Gary Simmons, who led us through this experience, has created a short video summarizing those efforts that we did over that weekend. So ultimately, we created what he calls a cue card. Here's who we've come here to be, and we usually look at the other. Please have compassion when we're being this, because we're just waking up to what those shadow qualities are that we carry. And energetically, we carry them. New people, different, may never have that experience, but yet the energy still accompanies the journey of this community. So I'm going to let you get that started, Nick.
Hello, Center of Unity. This is Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons, and along with my wife, Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons, we visited your ministry 2 weeks ago, September 5th and 6th, to conduct an event called the Genogram Activity. For those of you who are familiar with the quantum living process, it's as if we're putting the ministry through the quantum living process, where we discern who and what it has come here to be, as well as the limiting beliefs, the shadow issues that are also part of the ministry's culture, embedded in its past. The two-part series began with Friday evening, the Circle of Honor, where we were asking the participants to identify the values that they would like to have mirrored back to them as a part of their experience in the ministry. And so here's a picture of the values that were created Friday evening. As you can see in the slide, there are many values that represent the various elements of what the participants wanted to have mirrored back to them, such things as spiritual growth, spiritual teachings, acceptance, integrity, authenticity, love, and inclusiveness, as well as spirit-centered community. Now, all of these values represent what people want to have as a part of their experience. And that's important to note, because when we talk about the church's past and the things that have happened in the course of the many decades that this ministry has been in existence, it's not uncommon for the regrets that people talk about arise from the inability to embody these values. And so as a part of the process, the second day, which is called The Inconvenient Truth, Telling Our Story, was an opportunity for us to map out all the events and circumstances that were typical with respect to what has happened over the years since 1983, when this church was founded originally. So in this next slide, you see the genogram that we created Saturday. And it consists of identifying the various eras associated with the tenure of a spiritual leader, or an in-between time when there wasn't anyone there. And so in the course of identifying the various elements of each era, we looked at the attendance range as well as the accomplishments, or the prouds, the things that have happened that made the community value and experience a sense of pride associated with what was going on at the church. And in addition to that, we looked at the regrets, or the sorries, the things that have happened that contribute to the regrets that people have with respect to what has happened in their ministry. And then we talked about a transition range. In other words, how was it to move from one era to the next on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no big deal, 10 being a lot of trauma. So what we discover in the genogram activity as the unintended consequences of the minister-centric ministry practice is that people take on beliefs about the church and themselves with respect to what has happened. And so as you look at the unresolved issue column of the genogram, we get a lot of information about what has been the legacy associated with each era. In other words, in the minister-centric ministry practice, the eras are inherited by subsequent spiritual leaders. And so by the time you come to present day, you have accumulated lots of baggage associated with what has happened in the ministry. And we want to presence those issues so that we can begin to step out of and transcend the limitations that this ministry inadvertently has taken on. So in the process of discerning what your cue card and shadow card might be, we take into consideration the values that you've identified that you want mirrored back to you as the qualities of being that could be understood as who and what you've come here to be as a ministry. And then there is looking at the unintended consequences, the unresolved issues, as being a source for what we can discern as the shadow beliefs that are still a part of the ministry's culture or embedded in the corporate memory of the ministry. So I'd like to first begin with your shadow card. This is who you are not, a sense of not enough, distrusting, hurt, blaming, powerless, and fearful. And then there is who you've come here to be, loving, integral, unstoppable, spirit-led, empowered, inclusive, and authentic. Now, once again, these are discerned from what you've identified as your values, the values that you want mirrored back to you, as well as the unresolved issues that you identified in the course of telling the church's story. Now, there is a practice that I'm going to invite your ministry to participate in, you as a community, that on every Sunday for the next year, probably somewhere around where you affirm your evolutionary purpose statement, transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world, you could also affirm together as a congregation the following. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, hurt, blaming, powerless, and fearful, because this is who we have come here to be, loving, integral, unstoppable, spirit-led, empowered, inclusive, and authentic. And so while you affirm this every Sunday, you're going to have to create a context for it. In other words, there will be people who come to church for the very first time and will wonder, well, what's up with this? And so it'd be of value to help them understand that this is a part of your ministry's practice, to be able to work on transcending those limiting experiences and beliefs that you've accumulated in your rich history, and realize that the qualities of being that you also have identified are the antidotes to those unfortunate circumstances that have contributed to the myths, messages, and beliefs that are embedded in the church's culture. So once again, please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, hurt, powerless, and fearful, because this is who we've come here to be: loving, integral, unstoppable, spirit-led, empowered, inclusive, and authentic. God bless you. See you on the light side.
Can you say yes? Okay, I'm going to take that. I'm not going to make you do it again, but yes. Yes. So as we recognize how our shadows are oftentimes running our life, keeping us in the same old storms of conflict and sometimes confusion, and the more we intentionally, as part of this process, invite our authentic self to take over the driving, we discover the beauty of life that's always been there, that there are rainbows all around us when we're willing to take down our umbrella. And I'm looking for Noelle. Where? Oh, she's hiding. There she is. All right. It's all yours, hon.
When it rains, it pours, but you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying above rising water line. Well, the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, but darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. If you could see what I see, you'd be blinded by the colors, yellow, red, and orange and green, and at least a million others. So tie up the bow, take off your coat, take a look around, 'cause the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Ooh. Oh, tie up the bow, take off your coat, take a look around. Everything is all right now, 'cause the sky is finally open. Rain and wind stopped blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. Let go of your umbrella, 'cause darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Yeah, there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Ooh. It'll all be all right.
Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good. If you're watching online, you can once again go to that website, and there's a gift page right there that you can share a gift with us. And if you scroll down a little bit, you also get an affirmation if you go out on that page. For those of you here, in just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row as you share a gift today, or even if it's not your Sunday to give or you give electronically, come and be in the flow of giving and receiving. You can put one of the little committed giving cards in there, or just simply hold your hand over the basket to feel that energy of giving and receiving flowing in and through this ministry, and then to receive an affirmation to bless you this week. So let us take what we offer today into our hands and into our hearts as we join and bless it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
Hi, I'm Diane Diven, and I have agreed to share my spiritual journey this morning. I was raised a Methodist, attending church and Sunday school regularly. In high school, I realized why I was uncomfortable with the teachings that you must be a Christian to go to heaven. The problem for me was the God that I knew in my heart would want every genuinely good and caring person to come to heaven, no matter their spiritual preference, and even if they were an atheist. Who someone was inside of them and how they treat other people, other living creatures, our environment, and our entire planet is what was important. God made all of us in this world, everything we can see and not see, as well as experience. It was clear to me why my God would want to feel that way. I knew that what was important is how I lived my life. Intentionally living a life that is not caring and not caring to other people or the living creatures or our environment or the planet, or supporting those who don't do that is the serious negative, not which religion you chose or if you chose organized religion at all. I remember people at church saying to me, but it's in the Bible that, and then they would talk about whatever their beliefs were that I should believe. But as I would discuss with them, but there's so many things in the Old Testament in the Bible, like you sin if you cut your hair, or if you wear garments of multiple fibers. And there's lots of negativity in there. And that, I know, doesn't sit right with me. So I never understood their thoughts. How I came to be sure of this belief, even if I didn't grow up being taught it, I think is connected to the fact that I've often known things without being told. It's happened my whole life. When I was 9, my grandfather in New Hampshire was told he had less than a year to live. My mom could not take us up there due to finances at that time, but I knew in my heart I would see him again. So the next time we had a conversation on the phone, I just told him, I said, you're not gonna die because I know I'm gonna see you. And I was right. I saw him 4 years later and got to say goodbye. So as I got older, I sometimes would know that somebody was going to call. I would know somebody was having a problem. I would know that there was something bad about the situation. And most of the time, the information that came to me was clear. And then there were the interesting and funny times when I was awakened at 2 a.m. one morning, and I got up, and I just had this incredible desire to cook. So I cook, and I'm living by myself, but I cook so much food. And about 9 o'clock in the morning, I was through, the phone rang. One of my best friends that I grew up with called and said, my mom died last night. All my family's coming in today. Can you help me? Can you pick up some food or maybe help me cook? And I said, Barb, what time did you have that thought to call me about? And she said, about 2 o'clock. So I also sincerely believe in the power of positive thinking as part of spirituality. So I was really kind of enjoying that. That's what you were talking about today. And I believe that from a very young age. The words and ideas that we think shape our lives and drive us towards happiness or the opposite. I believe how you think and feel has a profound effect on your life. I love the saying by Bruce Lee, and it kind of reminds me of some of the things Mary Salerno used to say. He said, don't speak negatively about yourself, even in jest, because your words are energy and your body does not know the difference. Change the way you speak about yourself and you will change your life. I believe this is true, not just of how we speak about ourselves, but how we speak to others and about others. Negative people are the souls that create the havoc in the world. A friend in New Jersey emailed me the other day and said that a book in his church group that they were reading reminded him of me. The book is called The Book of Charlie, which is about a real person, and it's recommended by Tom Hanks, Bob Woodward, and others. So it's an interesting book if you want, and it's very positive. I attended churches with friends through college and my younger years, but there was the same old negative talk. You have to believe like I do, or you go to hell. And yet many of these people did not live the lives with kindness and caring towards others in our world. Luckily, one of my cousins, who's a friend, a Methodist minister, a scholar of religions around the world, was someone I spent years of conversations with about spirituality. He opened my eyes to a myriad of biblical interpretations and other spiritual ideas out there. Then in my late 30s, a friend took me to the Unity Church on Forest Lane in Dallas, and everything I heard resonated with me. I knew I had found my church, and I joined. I became active in their large singles group. One day I volunteered to be head of the camping trip that went to Beaver's Bend in Oklahoma. On that trip, I met a young man who attended the Fort Worth Unity Church. A guy who attended my church had brought him along. And about 2 months later, I met him again at the singles group dance at the church, and we started a conversation. That was the beginning of my long relationship and wonderful marriage to Rory Dippin. And when he and I went looking for a new home with wooded acreage, we found it out this way, which brought us to Unity Grapevine 27 years ago. I'm grateful for my years with Unity and the people that have come into my life through Unity.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Join the Corked Group for these two exciting events. They'll be headed to WinStar World Casino on September 27th to see the Temptations and the Four Tops at 8 p.m., and they will meet for dinner beforehand at the Terrace View Cafe at 5:30 p.m. Visit thewinstar.com to get your tickets. Then on October 5th, they'll visit Onstage in Bedford to see the 39 Steps. Tickets sell out quick, so visit onstageinbedford.com to get yours now. Help us support our neighbors in need. Bring non-perishable, shelf-stable food items to Fellowship Hall by the last Sunday for the Grace Food Pantry. Healthier options like low-sodium, low-sugar, and high-fiber foods are especially appreciated. Please remember to check those expiration dates. Want to discuss today's message in more detail? Then join us in person or online next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. for Adult Sunday School, where there's always an interactive and lively discussion. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, or use the COU or Venmo app. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
All right, well, thank you for joining us this week. Let's sing our kids in. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, we have a small but mighty group today. Let's see, and so the preschoolers learned about the diversity of the world family, and then the grade school kids also learned about diversity. Let's see.
Once your parents or someone else does good things to you, you should do good things for them.
All right, what do you want to say?
Today we had some cards and we colored them like the pictures, and on the back there's the name of that painting.
So matching cards from symbols from other countries, and so it tells you what country it's from. All right. Doc, were you sharing?
Today we did a meditation.
All right.
Today we learned about how like coming together as a group and kind of getting to know each other. Like we had this activity where we had a square and we all just stand in the square, and then Jessica shortened the square and then told us to do a group hug. Very fun.
Okay, here we go.
All right, why don't we stand up together or join hands and let's do our peace song.
So as we go into this week, inviting that authentic self to step into the driver's role more and more often, we go knowing our prayer for protection. We'll do it as call and response. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us. Let's do it together. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Hey, walking feet. Oh, sorry.